Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Professor Mohammad Rubaid Amin. I'm working in the Dhaka Medical College as a professor of medicine. It's a big, and I would say that big surprise rather than to say that a symposium has been arranged in this time of pandemic, which is not supposed to be there. But it's because of the fact that the new things always evolve in the time of the pandemic, and there's a potentiality of sometimes to do something, activity that is not consistent with pandemic. Our honorable teachers, very respectable President of the Bangladesh Society of Medicine and Secretary General, very dignitary peoples of Bangladesh. Thank you very much. Actually, I was surprised to find that a new drug has been launching very quickly in Bangladesh, which is very surprising at the same time, encouraging at the same time. So let's try to focus on the part of the remdesivir, which has been a drug that has recently been FDA approval for the emergency use. So have some glimpses on the part this one, okay? So we all know something about the COVID-19, and I would say that since the first case we are reported in the Wuhan, you know it, in the Hubei province of the China, that was in the late of the December 2019, infection of the severe acute respiratory coronavirus SARS-2 has become worldwide pandemic. And the officially designated name of the disease came as COVID-19, and it is caused by SARS-CoV-2. It's an overwhelming healthcare systems globally already has been said. We all know about this one. I'm not going to say anything detail of this one of the coronavirus, but this is the seventh coronavirus that has been in the part of the human population. It is a predominantly the virus has been in these animals as well as other signatories. And there are multiple of the varieties, many of the types. And one of the families, the sarcovirus. Among the sarcoviral community, this is the one of the human type. And we are facing this in the form of seven, the most deadliest, the most notorious, the most infectious, the most transmissible of them all, the SARS-CoV-2. We all know about something about the route of administration, but it has been many of the debate whether the routes of administration or the transmission has been finished or not. They said that this is a main part of the face, including the mouth and nose, we all know that. But very recently, the case reports came up. Can it be a year as the entry point or not? And many of the cases has been said that the symptomatology is persistent only to the part of the ear. So this is a big questions. Eyes remain a big issue. 1% of the cases has been reported to have involved the eyes. Terminology has been said is a COVID conjunctivitis. And myself, I think, was a case of the COVID conjunctivitis in the March 2020. Whether it can be transmitted to fecal or not, there's a big says that about 3 weeks duration of time even, the stool contains the RT-PCR. So how come it be there? So there's always a big potentiality that whether it could be transmitted to the fecals or not. And there's also controversy whether orofecal transmission can be possible or not proven scientifically yet. But when the country is having locking down, many of the countries said that let's release the lockdown to see the sewerage system of the country, whether the RT-PCR present in the stool or not. If it is not there, go for the lockup. If it is still there, go for the lockdown. And the big issue is that respiratory droplet remains the big issue of the transmission capability. We all know that. But new things always arise as the invention. As the respiratory droplet has been said that it cannot pass through the 6 feet or 2 meter duration of time. New concept says that there are two things again happens in the COVID-19. One is called that the micro droplet, which if it is a contained in a very close environment can remain in the air for longer duration of time unless you open your door or floor or whatever it is, it will persist and it can transmit even after 6 feet. So small aerosolation can be possible if you do not open up your windows. As because microdroplet can remain in the air, and if you open up, it will just cause that because there's aerodynamic flow. Any aerodynamic flow laminar will cause these things to get out of this home. Unfortunately, this is not a building where we can open up our windows. And sincerely to say that the hospital area which been working by the healthcare worker is a predominant site of having a respiratory droplet transmission. Beside the healthcare worker working in these places, other places, the best modality is the fomite. You all know that this is the contact. I will not say many details of the symptoms because it has been changed right recently. When the first, we know something about the COVID-19 says that it predominantly a respiratory pathogen, and it all involves the part of the respiratory pathology. But recently, you all know that the pathology has been deviated into two parts. One is the respiratory Another thing is called the endothelium. So basically, it's the endothelial inflammations and a superoxide mediated damage to the part of the endothelium. And the endothelium can be in such a state that a predominant vasculitic type of syndrome can develop in any organ of the body. So it's basically a multi-system disorder. And indeed, in the form of vasculitis, even in the children, you all know that the Kawasaki disease has become one important prototype where the prior disease can be a COVID-19. But commonly to say that still we believe that the predominant features will be influenza-like illness, predominantly say around 80%. These 80% came from the China, so don't believe only part of the China's only, because it has been in the all part of the globe right now. So the percentage of 80, 15, 5 should not be uniform, because in the Italy you will find that this 15% cases has been in the groups where the China has been saying the 5%. The pneumonia has been a prototype because this is the where the disease started, an atypical pneumonia, and the pandemic started in the Wuhan. So it will be always there. WHO separated in biomass of moderate to severe pneumonia. And last of all, the critical illness in the form of the ARDS, sepsis and septic shock, and recently multi-organ failure, as you can all know, that came up due to the endothelial dysfunction. Interestingly, all over the globe, it has been identified that older patients as well as pre-existing respiratory cardiovascular disease appears to be a greater in risk, especially who has the prior diseases. And serious outcome, obviously, is the death. And we have observed, actually, about more than 2.5 lakh deaths already happens in the globe. I would like to say a few things about the virus replication before starting for the remdesivir, because we want to know that what is going on in the cell. It's only showing in the type 2 alveolar cell, but you can assume that this cell can be an endothelium. This cell can be also enterocyte in the GI tract. This cell can be a conjunctival cell. This can be a cardiac myocyte cell. And this also can be a part of the uterus and vagina if it is a female and others. So you can see it's a multi-organ dysfunctional cell. But what happens that this coronavirus, when it's get an entry into the part through a spike protein, always you know that there are some other proteins remain close by the spike protein known as the dog protein. And the fitting has to be there with the receptor within the part of our cell. And after that, this GNA material will come within the part of the cell. The important issue is that when the material of this RNA came up with the cytosol, it snatches out, it just simply snatches our own cells material to make its own protein. This is the concept. The fact that this messenger RNA, which has been there within the part of this cell, need a ribosome to transfer it into a protein. Now that problem arises when the ribosome actually is stuck on the part of RNA of the virus, not our own cell. And that is where the RNA-dependent RNA polymerase came, because we need lots of RNA for the virus. And the fragment of the RNA, from which fragment they will develop S protein, from another small fragment where will come the nucleoprotein and the membrane protein, so that when the cell cytosol utilize the ribosome as well as the RNase polymerase enzyme, it can produce RNA of the virus, it can produce S protein of the virus, it can produce the membrane protein of the virus, and everything. Thereafter, assembly will happen. We have a lot of viral from a single cell, and look at this one, all the viruses came. This is the simple mechanism how the virus can replicate within a cell and make its number of copies. You can have millions of copies. And somebody says, all the millions are needed for an infection or not? There has been much debate on that part. If you get 10 viruses, get it through the nose, it can create an ILI. If you get 100 viruses within a very short period of time, it can go to the lung. So there are many theories actually coming out. The big issue is that these steps, you can see this one, this is the ribosome, creating all the protein stuff. This viral RNA uses the host cell, actually was what I was saying at, and then new virions are developed, get out of the cell. This is how the other cell will be infected. So there came, so why I'm saying this, because the remdesivir, which has been in drug, has been watched on the part of this particular molecular level. Currently, there are many treatments we are giving, although it has been written down as a treatment, I would say these all are secondaries. Remember, one important issue is a viral pneumonia. All through this pandemic, COVID-19, the treatment is supportive. It has been proven. And the two things, scientifically, if we say high quality evidence proven, is two things only. One is oxygen, another is called the proning. Rest are not very much high quality scientific base. But these are used in different epidemics as well as endemic situation of pandemic and becomes recommended in different societies. For the pharmaceuticals agent, which is a secondary part of management, we are using many of the drugs like antimalarial hydroxychloroquine, possibly the most known drug around the globe right now. Chloroquine is still there. The antivirals, I would say that in the Wuhan, China, there are so many antiviral drugs used in a very short period of time. You cannot imagine. Many of them use the favipiravir, some of them use the oseltamivir, anti-HIV drugs, ritonavir as well as ribavirin. All are used, and sometimes 3 drugs has been used in the Wuhan. So you can easily see as because of viral illness, they have said that we use the antiviral drug. That's the very simple principle. And antiparasitic came from ivermectin, but I would say it's just a lab study. And there's not been a human study yet. There's not been animal study yet. But in this vitro study, it has been said that it reduces the viral load very quickly. But be careful because ivermectin that used in the lab study is 13 times that used in the human consumption. Now this is the drug that we actually came up here, and everybody wants to know something about this remdesivir because it has been approved and emergency use by the FDA. Why such thing happened? I think there was many people who actually is behind this interesting drug, and we know about Anthony Fauci, who is the director of the Allergy and Immunity Center. And he actually shows the declaration that the data that has been shown in the United States of America has a clear-cut significant positive effect in diminishing the time of recovery of the COVID-19. Another thing is that the Stephen Hahn, you know that he's actually the FDA commissioner. He said it's the first authorized therapy in the COVID-19, so we are really proud to be a part of it. That was the statement after this statement of Anthony Fauci come up. Now, FDA authorization of the remdesivir actually is allowed the drug for a duration of 5 days. In the Wuhan, China, and many other areas where the remdesivir was used was for the 10 days. So they had a 5 days and 10 days comparative shown as so, and it was later on there declared for the 5 days. So the cohort study actually was given for the 10 days duration of time. So for the moderate to severe COVID-19 patient requiring intubation and supplemental oxygen, remdesivir has shown significant clinical outcome in the form of recovery days. That has been the statement in Scott Gottlieb. So you can see this investigational and antiviral medicine. What I like to say about the remdesivir, it was actually an orphan drug. Now, what is an orphan drug? An orphan drug is a drug which is actually reserved for a very rare disease to come in centuries in globe. And that may be purposely used for that time. That's the reason why it becomes orphan. And the Gilead was the main producer, and they had to remain in the patency as because it was not manufactured by any other pharmaceutical because of the orphan. And very, very recently, when this pandemic, COVID-19 came up, physicians as well as scientists around the globe become very much curious. So why such an amount of drug remains there when we have a lot of cases around the globe and people are dying like anything? So that's the reason why pressure came up tremendously on the part, and FDA immediately gives an approval to make and manufacture of this drug for a repurpose or by means of compassionate use. So that's the reason why you can see the remdesivir becomes available. And remdesivir is a nucleoside ribonucleic acid polymerase inhibitor. As I told you in the previous slide, it makes an RNA-dependent polymerase enzyme to have a copy of the RNA. So if we can inhibit that one, so the RNA will not be developed for the virus. That's the simple principle. So why it is selected? Because RNA-dependent RNA polymerase SARS-CoV and the SARS-CoV-2 share the 96% RNA sequence identity. About the remdesivir use, what I like to say that it has been tried different time in the vitro against many of the coronavirus, SARS, MERS, and even those coronavirus will become very much benign nowadays. And it becomes very successful in the vitro study all the time. And all those cases has also done animal studies. All the animal studies actually shows a lot of benefits when somebody has given the remdesivir. But pardon to say that when the remdesivir was used in the patients with the Ebola virus, it was a big fail. Not only the part of the Africa in the South American region where there was the Ebola was trending towards the America, they use it randomly in many of the patients with Ebola without any success at all. So clinically, it has been also tried in the MERS and few of the cases of SARS without any convincing evidence it has been successful or not. But still, it remains promised in the lab in the animal. So every time a pandemic potentiality came up, then came up the remdesivir. So this is the antiviral targeting RNA dependent on the polymerase protein of the SARS-CoV-2 likely to be effective. So this is how it works. It blocks the RNA dependent RNA polymerase, as I have shown you. This is the step. So you can completely close here because this is the ribosome. This is the RNA of the virus. And you can have a lot of protein products over there. And after that, they can have an assembly to make a virus again. So this is the step where we need to close it down. And when ribosome actually making a copy of this one RNA, it needs an RNA-dependent RNA polymerase enzyme. This is the where the remdesivir will block that one. And it can cause the premature termination, you can easily add on. These are the dosage. I will say that for the day one, the loading dose is 200 milligram IV infusion, to be given within 2 hours duration of time, but you can finish it within 30 minutes time also. And the maintenance dose is 100 milligram. Many of the study which has been used as the repurpose or the case study profile has been using it from the day 2 to day 10, 100 milligram maintenance dose. And for the 40 kg, you can see the day one duration has been given, and treatment may be extended up to 5 additional days because the new recommendation is day 2 to day 5. This is for the pediatric dosage, 5 milligram per kg IV infusion, and also remains the same. Go for the 5 days. If that doesn't respond, you can extend up to the 5 days again. I would say that what has been saying in the National Institute of Health in the research finding why the Anthony Fauci and others are very much encouraging to say. And it has not been published in the peer-reviewed journal yet, but the interim analysis has been done by the Data Safety Monitoring Board. This study of the ACTT actually has taken all the drugs from the Gilead, so not to have any impact on the part of the sponsor. And secondly, what happened that they want to make a completion of the study of 6,000 sample. But at the 1,063 sample, Data Safety Monitoring Board came up for the interim report, and they said that you can stop the trial right now. Why? Because it has been shown that 31% faster recovery time of patient treated with the remdesivir in comparison to the placebo. Means that the duration of stay in the hospital was lessens. The placebo groups has a 15 days duration on average. The remdesivir group has 11 days on average. So as because the duration of has been reduced, there is an assumption that viral loads has been reduced. Otherwise, how come they can discharge? That's the reason why Fauci was very much sure that this have a significant positive impact on the part of clinical recovery. That's the statement he has given. But interesting phenomena in that statement, he also said that the mortality was not very heavily statistically significant. The mortality in the remdesivir group was 8%, while it is 11% in the placebo group. And statistically, when they make analysis, it came out a p-value of 0.059. So it's not below 0.005, so you cannot say it's a conclusion. So that's the reason why the conclusion came up into that median time of recovery was shorter, 11 days, for the patient treated with remdesivir as compared to the subject receiving the placebo, 15 days. So this is the source. You can also check this one. I would also say that, was there any other study beside this one? Yes, there was so many compassionate study has been done by the remdesivir. And these are called a compassionate cohort. People have been using this one on our approved drug because there was no other option. That's the reason why Wuhan has been using this drug. 53 of the patients has been there. Total 10 days duration treatment was given. Loading was 200 milligram IV day one, and the maintenance was 100 milligram for 9 days. And it was a follow-up needs. It was published, you see, in the April 10, 2020. I think many of you have also read that one in the New England Journal of Medicine. And these durations are, you can easily see that the results was like this to identify that results was in the favor of remdesivir. And what are the points that are actually seeing up during the time of the outcome was the discharge from the hospital to check what are the ambient air they have, whether the low flow oxygen can be given to them or not, has the use of the non-invasive, how much they have to use the ECMO or invasive, and last of all the death as a secondary outcome. This has been shown also in these compassionate studies. And there was found that clinical improvement was defined by means of live discharge from the hospital, a decrease of at least 2 points from this baseline to modified ordinal scale by WHO. There was another study done in the Chicago. Actually, it was a phase 3 trials of the University of Chicago, which revealed that out of the 125 studied patients, 103 actually were severely affected by the coronavirus. Most of them recovered, 2 of the patients actually died. in that study. Now, very recently, you will find another study which is not a positive one of the remdesivir has been found in the Lancet. You will find it in the published online April 29. It was also a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial in the China. This was done actually previous the statement of the American one. And it was a randomized 2:1, means that 2 patients will receive the remdesivir, 1 patient will receive the placebo. And it was a multi-center trial in the 10 hospitals in the Hubei province, where all the SARS-CoV-2 was positive. They took the 237 patients. They were supposed to take more patients, but you know that China has become decline of the SARS-CoV-2 cases, and there was no case for the enrollment. So that's the reason they stopped over there in 237. And as because it's a 2:1, 152 patients received the remdesivir and 79 to the placebo. And the results actually show that remdesivir was not actually associated with a difference in time to clinical improvement. Now remember, those patients actually admitted has a variations. Some of them had a variation of 10 days duration, some that admitted after the 12 days. Now when the results has been plotted as a compilation, it came up was not associated. But when they associated with the only 10 days duration of time, then it was found to have a associated with the faster time of clinical improvement. You can see in the second line. So patient receiving the remdesivir had a numerically faster time to recover interval than those receiving placebo when the duration of 10 days. But interesting phenomenon of that study is that adverse event was very high. Not only the part of the remdesivir, but also the part of the placebo, 66% to 64%. So you can assume that there was a very much side effect found in this part. Remdesivir was stopped at that because of the adverse event of 12% patient versus the 4. So that's the study which has not been conclusively saying many things. They said a larger study is needed to make a clarification about the side effect profile to side effect efficacy. And then came up the Anthony Fauci's data. This is the things that has been about the remdesivir. I will not go for the long thing about the pharmacokinetics. It's unbound. You can see its metabolism basically was esterase. This enzyme came up. It's basically renal clear. So that's the reason why when somebody has a multi-organ failure with ARDS, we cannot use this drug, the remdesivir. And the biliary is 28%. These are the few nucleoside metabolite that can be seen when we are using it. Pregnancy, there was no adequate well-controlled actually studies relating to pregnancy. Only that if you have think about to use it in a very severe case, the risk-benefit ratio must be in there. Nursing mother, no information regarding the remdesivir in human milk. You can see that one. In any study, remdesivir metabolites have been detected in the nursing pops of the mothers given remdesivir, likely due to the presence of remdesivir in milk. So there should be some cautions in the nursing mother. Again, the renal impairment, I can say that not recommended in full-term neonates with the serum creatine clearance more than 1 milligram per DL. Recommended if the potential benefit out of the potential risk. But for the multi-organ, there has not been any recommendation actually. Hepatic is only been used when the patient hepatic impairment, the potential benefit out of the potential risk. And remember one important issue, remdesivir can increase the transaminasemia. Drug-drug interactions, trials with other concomitant medication have not been conducted in human. Adverse effect, actually there's a big issue of the transaminase. I told you about this elevation. And it has been found that 5 times if somebody has elevated, ideally this drug should not be used. And should be discontinued in patient who develops ALT more than 5 times. Okay? But it can be restarted if you can make a control below 5 times. Limited clinical data on the part of pharmacovigilance, serious and unexpected adverse event, and increased risk of transaminase elevation may occur. Now, these are the few other investigations. You can see the clinical studies actually is going on. The study that has been approved, this 6,000. You see, this is the data. Among them, 1,063 data came up with the DSMB. But rest, 237 patients, it has been published. 308 patients still going not published. Nebraska Medical University doing on the 440 patients. Started on the part, supposed to be ended the pre-one, not published yet. You can see 1,600 patient enrollment in one of the study of evaluated safety and antiviral activity of remdesivir in moderate coronavirus diseases. Another study having a 440 to be started in the completion of April actually by Mr. Niat, adaptive COVID-19. This Niat actually is the first one who declared that we are going to do the study on the part of remdesivir. And double-blind remdesivir study in the Atlanta is also going. So you can see a lot of studies still is going on. And also to mention that Solidarity trial by WHO is also having 5 groups of drugs. One the standard, another group is the anti-HIV drug, Third will be anti-HIV with interferon. Number 4 will be the remdesivir. And the remdesivir also been in the part of solidarity. If any of these country want to do the solidarity trial, they would have a 5-arm study in anywhere. I think Bangladesh has a scope there to take this trial and do the remdesivir trial at the same time, so that we can have also the data as well as the results in our own population. So I think, thank you very much, Professor SKF, for introducing the remdesivir for the people of Bangladesh. Obviously, it's a drug of promise. There has not been much think about debate about the mortality issue and others, but still it's a big promise. We can also have some good data on the part of the current investigation that has been going on. Also, we can also data collection from our own country peoples and the solidarity trial. We'll wait to see that what is going on with this one. Thank you very much for your patience.